So what are some of the steps that can be taken if I'm an investor and I'm trying to build a co-living rental portfolio? What do I need to do? What do I need to know? How does this work? Now, as you know, co-living is where we have an investor that buys a property and they're renting out the property room by room. So instead of buying a single family home and renting the entire home to one tenant, we're taking the single family home and we're building it. We're creating more bedrooms in the home and more bathrooms, and we're renting it room by room. We're also renting it to members, not to tenants, and we're collecting rent weekly. So the tenants are paying us weekly instead of monthly. We have a smart lock on every door and a smart lock on the main entrance as well. So what are 5 steps to getting a beautiful, best return on investment kind of property that's going to build our rental portfolio and help us with our generational wealth? Well, the first step is location, location, location. As you know, location is key. What does the location look like for a profitable co-living property? It got to be a commuter-friendly location, meaning there's trains and buses going into that location. It also has to be a location that has a main core employer in the area. Maybe it's a theme park, maybe it's a hospital, maybe it's an Amazon warehouse, maybe it's a Best Buy warehouse. Maybe there's a lot of stores and malls and shopping centers in the area that people are working at. Maybe it's a hospital where we have traveling nurses. Maybe it's a trade school where people are going to learn any kind of trade. Plumbing, electrical, cook, chef, whatever that is. You want to know the area you're buying in to know what that location looks like, what kind of employers in the location, and are the people that are employed by these employers, are they looking to live close to work, and will they rent my furnished room? That's the first step. The second step is, what does the ideal property look like? What size property do I need? And the answer is 1,500 to 2,200 square feet would be a great ideal property for co-living. You want to start off with 3 or 4 bedrooms, maybe even 5. Whatever the amount of bedrooms are that you're starting off with, that you're buying the property with, you want to be able to add 2 or 3 more bedrooms and 1 more bathroom if at all possible. So that's what you're looking at. How many rooms can I add to the existing property? Does it have a 2-car garage I could convert? Does it have a huge family room I could probably make into 2 other bedrooms? What does that look like? Am I just adding rooms, or do I want to redo the entire property and then refinance after to pull my money back? Do I want to renovate the entire property to actually make it into a co-living home, or am I just going to be adding on to what's there? That's going to be super important. The next step is, we don't want to be in an HOA. HOA co-living, they don't work together. So no HOA of any kind. And also we want to make sure that there's no restrictions on overnight parking on the streets, because more than likely you're not going to be able to fit all the members on the same driveway. So we wanted them to be able to park on the street. But you know what the funniest thing is? A lot of these people, sometimes they don't drive. And we're thinking, okay, they all drive. No, they do not drive. That's why we need to be in a commuter-friendly location, because they may not be driving and you may not even have an issue with parking. When you're looking at the property, you want to see if you could add additional parking. So you want to see if you could extend the driveway possibly, or create more parking in the back of the property. That's why you don't want to be in an HOA, so that you can provide more parking on the premises if you do have parking. But I don't think parking should be a big deal, because you always have street parking. So, that should not be a big deal. What's the next step? The next step would be, make sure the home is designed for true co-living. And by the way, before I get into that, if you want to go through a comprehensive list of what this co-living look like, be sure to give us a call and send us a text and schedule a Zoom call. So we will go over with you exactly what you need, the location to pick, and what you would need in more details. So be sure to do that. Okay. So what does the ideal co-living property look like? What am I putting in the home? Well, first you're going to put a smart lock on every bedroom for sure. A smart lock will be on the main entrance as well. If you're able to give individual entrance to individual room, that would be great, because that would be a big plus to the person renting that room. They could just open the door and go into their room. They don't have to go through the hallways or any of that stuff. It's not necessary, but that would be a plus. If you're able to give some of the bedrooms their own bathrooms, That would be a great plus because people don't really like sharing bathrooms. They will if they have to. But if they have a choice, they're probably going to want to have their own bathrooms. And that room would have a better rate of return because you could charge more money for that particular room. Each room should have a queen bed at a minimum. We don't want to do a twin bed. We don't want to have a full bed. We want a queen bed. If you're going to rent furnished, that is, and I would suggest you do that because the furnished rooms do better than the unfurnished ones. So you want to have a queen bed. You want to have a desk and chair in that room. You may or may not want to have a small refrigerator and microwave. You know, and there's some things you got to do if you're going to be doing that. But you also want to have a chest of drawer or a dresser. And of course, you want to have a closet with some hangers in it. And then you could decide if you want to get sheets and beddings and pillows, all that great stuff. Or if you just want to just do the bed. If you're doing the mattress, you need to have mattress protector. That is an absolute must. You must have mattress protector to protect your mattress. So you could go on Amazon, you get a really nice memory foam or hybrid mattress between $300 to $450 for the mattress, queen size. And then you're going to do a mattress protector. Then you're going to decide if you want to supply bedding or not. In the kitchen is going to be main core. You want to have a kitchen and you want to have a dining area or a gathering area for everybody that's renting in the home. So in the kitchen, you want to have a coil electric stove. You want to have everything electric, nothing gas. Coil electric stove, not a glass top because that could get broken. No dishwasher, no garbage disposal. A refrigerator that does not have a ice and water disposal on the door because those get broken. So you're trying to control how much things could get broken. If you're going to be providing a refrigerator and a microwave in each room, then you want to make sure you check that refrigerator and microwave before they move in and after they move out. So if they break it, then you could take that money from their deposit, whatever it is they put up as deposit before they rented the room. Now, remember that you're the one that's supplying the utilities to this house, right? Because the member weekly fee is included with utilities. So you want to make sure you have high-speed internet, 1 gigabyte at the very minimum. And you want to make sure if you're providing the air conditioning for the entire home that you have a thermostat that locks and that you have a lock over the thermostat and you put one set temperature, whether it be 74, 72, 70, whatever that temperature is. If that's the case, then you want to make sure you have ceiling fan in each bedroom. That way people get too hot or too cold, they could adjust the fan. If you're going to say, well, I don't want to do a ceiling fan because they're going to run it all the time, guess what? They could bring their own portable fan and run it all the time too. And of course, you want to make sure that every room has their own cabinet. So in the kitchen, you want to assign cabinet per room and make sure the cabinet is lockable. So you could lock it. In each cabinet, you could decide if you wanted to have some dishes and, utensils and that kind of stuff per room. You don't have to, but you could decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to give at least one plate, a cup, a glass, some spoons and fork to each of the cabinet. But at least they could at least they'll be able to store their stuff in the kitchen without thinking about somebody stealing it or taking it or whatever the situation is. For the laundry room, you want to have a coin-operated washer and dryer. Why? Because if you don't, and you just provide a regular washer and dryer, they're going to be doing laundry all the time. Now, I know you're wondering, why don't I need a dishwasher or a garbage disposal in the kitchen? Why? Because they break. Because the garbage disposal gets stuck a lot when people put all kind of craziness like bones and stuff they're not supposed to put down the drain down. It's going to get stuck. You're going to be getting these calls. The garbage disposal isn't working. Just eliminate it altogether. The dishwasher, because people renting a room will not have a whole set of load of dishes to wash. So if they're going to run a dishwasher by putting 2 plates and a cup and a glass, and they're going to run a whole cycle for that. That's going to be too much on your electric bill. Just take the dishwasher out. They could unwash all that stuff. Let's talk about hot water, okay? Because if you have a 9-bedroom, 3-bathroom as an example, will you have enough hot water? Because some people want to take long hot showers, and then the next person that goes in have no hot water. So what I would suggest is you could have 2 hot water tank or a very large hot water tank at the very least. That way you won't run out of hot water. You'll always have hot water going. You could also do hot water on demand. But the problem with that is most of those only operate through a gas line. And you don't want to have any gas. You want to have only electric in the home. You want to have no gas of anything, no gas leak, nothing for gas. So just do electric for everything and you will be completely fine. Next thing is you do not want to have a pool. No pool, no liability. No pool anywhere. They could go to the Y or to a gym or whatever it is if they want to swim or go to the beach. But you don't want to have a pool on the property because there's just way too much liability. The next step is going to be insurance. You have got to make sure you have enough liability insurance on that property. That's why I think it's a great idea for you to do the room furnished, because if the furniture get destroyed, it's your furniture anyway. The member can't come and say, well, I had my bed and the bed got destroyed. So it's your furniture, right? Going to be important. You must have house rules. What are your house rules? And they must be posted either in the kitchen, the gathering room, or the laundry room, so everybody knows what they are. Are you going to allow smoking? Maybe not. Are you going to allow pets? Maybe not. Allow anyone, maybe a single mom with a small child. Are you going to allow that? How many people should be occupying the room? Are you going to allow a couple to occupy the room or only one person? You have to come up with what is going to be allowed in the property and that kind of stuff. The next thing you want to do is you need to have someone coming in to clean the common areas and the bathrooms, especially if they're shared, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. This is going to be super important because when you share in a bathroom, not everybody is clean, and dirt and mold and everything is going to build up. You also want to make sure you have great ventilation in the bathrooms, a ventilating fan, whether it has a window or not, because I know in some areas, some states, if you have a window, you don't need a ventilating fan. You will need a ventilating fan in a co-living environment, so you want to make sure that's set up and that it actually works. So once a month, I would send someone in to check on everything in the common area. All the kitchen stuff, or is everything working? Is the venting fan in all the bathrooms working? Is the air conditioning working? And if you're in Florida, especially in Florida, or in any state that requires air conditioning, you want to make sure you're changing that filter once a month and that you're servicing the unit once every 6 months. So every 6 months, somebody will go out there and they will make sure that the air conditioning system, the lines are drained and all that great stuff. Once a month, you want to make sure you're changing the filter and you're adding at least a cup of vinegar in it, in the system, to create it from getting backed up. This is super duper important, especially in Florida. If you're in the one of the coldest state like New York, Connecticut, that kind of stuff, then you want to make sure your heating system is set up correctly and that will work sufficiently. So these are the steps that you will take if you want to have a profitable co-living property. And the reason why we love co-living so much is because it's solving a lot of affordable living issues. I believe co-living is going to be what prevents a lot of people from living on the streets. We're getting more and more people being homeless. And if they could find somewhere to live that's affordable, that they have their own little space, and they could have a job and they'll be able to pay the room weekly. We want weekly payments, not monthly payments. If you're able to do that, a lot of people would be off the street, guys. So this is something that we are solving, an issue of housing affordability in any area of the U.S. because affordable housing is very difficult. Not everybody qualifies for Section 8 and all the other stuff. And if people are down on their luck, maybe they're going through a divorce, maybe they just got aged out of the system, as in the case with the foster care system. If a child is in the foster care system at 18, they're aged out, where are they going to live? Who's going to employ them? Right? They're not going to get an high-paying job to go rent their own apartment. Renting a room might be the ideal situation for them. Maybe they were in a shelter or something and they're trying to get out of the shelter just to rent a room. So this is definitely something that is going to solve a lot of issues in the economy, and I love helping people. So if you're looking to do co-living, this may be a space you may want to look into. It's not like Airbnb or short-term rental. We're actually helping out folks that don't have another choice. It helps them to rent a room and to save up to do something else. So we know they're not going to be permanently living with us, but they're probably going to be there maybe for 3 to 6 months, maybe even up to a year. The ideal member stays 3 to 6 months in any particular location. Some people stay longer, some people stay shorter, but that's the ideal. And if you're just starting out with the co-living, I would suggest you use a platform like PadSplit. PadSplit is like Airbnb. You go onto PadSplit and you put your rooms for rent on there and you follow all their criteria. They will get the members for you. They will screen them and then they'll send them to rent from you. PadSplit also collect the rent weekly. So they collect the rent weekly and they send that amount to you. They're going to take a split, I think 15% or 22%, something like that. If you want more details, please feel free to reach out to us and schedule a Zoom call so we could go over this with you in more details and for your specific situation. Thank you so much, guys. We want to see more and more co-living investors. We're here to help you to find the ideal property. Give us a call, send us a text so we could go over more details with you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.